Climate crisis in Glasgow is just cop out 26. Demands urgent
Michael
changes to
Roberts.
the world economy. Yeah. Yeah, Michael Roberts. Yeah, now this was actually published in the next recession, and I noticed that Left Voice has been like doing more guest posts lately. And we're gonna have another one, or I think may have done one before, but let's see, is there another one tonight? No, I think that was it. No, there is another one. There's from Payday Report. That's our next story. So. Climate crisis, of course, demands urgent changes to the world economy, but this will require bringing the fossil fuel companies into public ownership and rapidly expanding renewable energy. Yet none of this is on the agenda at COP26. Of course not. COP20, that's it's the Conference of the Parties is what it's called. That's what it stands for, of course. It was in Glasgow, Scotland. We're currently on track for at least a 2.7 degree Celsius hotter world by the end of the century. And that's only if countries meet all the pledges that they've made. Currently, they're nowhere doing that. They're nowhere near doing that, of course. Bummer. Global energy-related carbon dioxide emissions are on course to surge by 1.5 billion tons in 2021. Second largest increase in history. So we're not doing so great when it comes to reversing and reverse most of last year's decline caused by the COVID pandemic and panic. So global emissions are expected to increase by 16%, not fall by 2030 compared with 2010 levels. Great. All right, getting back to no more than 1.5 degrees. Through rapid, bold emissions cuts and net zero commitments. Again, you'll see a lot of the world governments are pledging to go off combustion vehicles by 2030 or 2035, right. And that's going to help. That still doesn't, I don't know how they're going to convert the entire truck fleet of 18-wheelers by then, but I'm not going to doubt it. I'm just going to kind of be skeptical of it a little bit.
For sure.
So there is no longer any plausible scientific argument against the view that human activities are having a profound impact and effect on the climate.
Yep. Even Trump cited it in his,
the birds,
insurance things.
Yep.
Well, no, he was talking about on his golf course that global warming was, making sea levels rise, and therefore he was losing real estate.
Anything for him to get a payout, right?
Yeah.
So already there's a yawning gap between government commitments to reduce emissions to be offered at COP26 and what's necessary. And there were some protests, there was some environmental stuff. I know that Katie Halper actually did a really good stream with some environmental activists that were in Glasgow, and she did that live. It was like 1 or 1:30 in the morning from there, from the people that were there. So again, looking at the cumulative public money commitments, there's still a ton towards fossil fuels just in the last year, and it has not reduced. Now, the commitment towards clean energy or alternate fuels has also increased. You can see just the amount of energy we're using is just, well, think about it, and the amount of money we're spending on it. Everybody's been using Zoom, and half the places aren't even back to work still.
Yep.
Which countries are to blame for this failure to do anything remotely close to avoiding the environmental disaster? China's usually picked on, okay, but of course, it is by far the world's largest emitter of CO2, planning to build 43 new power plants. But China has some excuses. It has the largest population. Per capita emissions are much lower than most other major economies, although it's the mass that counts, not necessarily the per capita. Second, it's a manufacturing center of the world, providing goods for all the wealthy countries of the global north. Now, I remember Jim Inhofe bringing a snowball into the floors of Congress and saying, well, I guess climate change is over. Yeah.
Yeah. Except he had to bring it in a cooler. So
look at that little drop on the chart, and that's the year of COVID when we were all inside.
Yep.
But look at that, and we're right back.
Yep.
I mean, we literally just picked right back up on the trend line since then, and we're not even all out and living our lives normally again. Some of us are, but too many of us are not. So, first place on historical rankings is the U.S., of course. China is relatively distant second. Russia, Brazil, Indonesia. Okay. So, plan project. So, where is it going? And you can see by country whether their usage is planned to be going down, up, or staying flat. And what's the circle in the square? Annual production is less than half an EJ, whatever the EJ is, measurement. Planned projected change in national fossil fuel. So again, decrease of more than 5%. You've got the greens. Increase of more than 5%. You've got the oranges, or is that 0.5? Because I see this is
0.5. I think, right? You know, it's an increase of greater than 5%.
Yeah, except that this is 0.3. That's weird. Okay. No wonder the governments of fossil fuel producers and consumers are among those asking countries asking the UN in Glasgow to play down the need to move rapidly away from fossil fuels, of course. Now they're talking about carbon neutral by 2060, China. It is, and they account for about 50% of the world's growth in renewable energy capacity. Look at that. Out front on electric vehicles, batteries, solar power. Good article. None of this is on the agenda.
Well, you better get hip to indie left. Indie left. Indieleft.news.